Hey guys, I'm Ron.
And I'm Brandon, and this
is Identical Reactions. Dude, that actually sounded like we scripted that or planned that.
No, we should do that, because I love doing that on my last channel with Dav. We'd always be like, I'm Dav, and I'm Brandon, and this is Slay Reactions.
Slay Queen. Nice.
What? What?
All right, we got a new one that just dropped today.
And still, you don't have to yell another week
Yesterday
of telling Ronald the camera's right there.
All right, this just dropped. Rotten Mango. I received a message from a serial killer's wife asking
For
help. What do you think that could mean?
I'm not answering that. That is such... What is that, a backhanded question? What is the rhetorical question?
What do you think this is going to be about?
Receiving a message from a serial killer's wife asking for help.
How do you think this goes about? Who receives the message?
Someone does.
What's the message?
Help. Help me.
All right.
I'm dying. No, I'm joking.
We're laughing at this part of it. But I'm sure the content is not laughable. So just to be clear, we have a very unique sense of humor. And if you've been watching our channel, you already know that. One would argue that his sense of humor is dumb. But regardless of that point...
So bad, dude.
Regardless of that, I am excited to hear about this. And any story being told by Stephanie is entertaining, right?
Yeah, but a story told by Rotten Mango is what I really like.
You realize Stephanie is Rotten Mango.
Doom, baby.
Okay,
let's go.
That was his attempt at being funny.
That was good.
I actually don't think it was good, but all right.
You know what is good?
You're gonna swing.
Right hook.
Dude, I'm about to fade.
Hey, stop. Let's record, man.
All right. Let's just dive in. Thank you guys for watching.
Appreciate you guys. This just dropped?
This just dropped. 21 hours ago, not even 24 hours ago, it has 500,000 views. It doesn't even matter how many views it has, though. Like, if she drops it, it's good, and we're watching it.
Facts.
We still have a lot of Rotten Mango to catch up on.
Facts.
And shout out to everyone that is also enjoying our EWU, Explore With Us content, because we do plan on continuing to react to both.
Facts.
Rotten Mango and EWU is both content that we really enjoy, and so you can...
Facts. It literally works.
Gosh.
After everything you say. As your twin, I'm just reinforcing.
All right, with that being said, let's dive in.
Bada bing, bada boo.
3 months ago, a very interesting question pops up on the subreddit, Relationship Advice. It's where people go to ask strangers on the internet for advice for their relationship. It's a 29-year-old man, and he writes, I don't really have anyone else to talk to about this. This was the final option. I made a Reddit account. I was browsing through Reddit to see if anybody else had any sort of relationship trouble that was similar to mine, but I can't find anything. So I've hit rock bottom, and I'm gonna write this post. I have been in a very serious relationship with my 28-year-old girlfriend for a little over a year. I'm gonna refer to her as Jay. We have a lot of mutual friends, so I can't even ask a friend about this. Not that I think that they can even help me regardless. I feel like they'll just see her differently and treat her differently. Anyway, my girlfriend and I have been looking into moving in together. Things have been getting really serious, and we talked about how to even split the finances and all that good adult stuff. I've been really excited about this new chapter with my girlfriend. I even started casually looking at rings a couple of months ago because honestly, I feel like she's the one for me. She's smart, beautiful, funny, loved by nearly everyone that she meets, and just overall the best person that I've ever met. Now on to the issue. About 2 weeks ago, I started spending the weekend at her place. We usually alternate weekends at one another's apartment, and I ended up catching some stomach bug on Sunday. So I took a sick day off work on Monday, and Jay, my girlfriend, offered for me to stay at her apartment since I didn't feel good enough to drive home, and she was really sweet about it. She offered to make me soup when she got off work. I mean, she works 10 to 6. So I was mostly alone during the day, mostly sleeping and spending time in the bathroom throwing up. OP, the poster, ends up throwing up in her bathroom floor. He doesn't make it to the toilet. There's vomit everywhere, and he's looking for a way to clean this up, trying to find her linen closet. He finds some rags that look like you would use them to clean. Down the very top shelf, he's feeling weak, he's feeling frustrated, he doesn't have a ladder, he doesn't know where anything is. So he just kind of jumps and yanks them down, and a bunch of other stuff come falling down too, including this very small shoebox. He says, I really don't like going through her things when she's not around because we really value and respect each other's privacy. I completely trust her. But as I was cleaning up everything that fell out of the shoebox, I happened to notice something really odd, and I just couldn't help but be a little nosy. It was an envelope addressed to her, and the return address was a prison in another state. As I looked at the other stuff in the shoebox, I found way more envelopes just like it, as well as some drawings. I will admit, in a moment of weakness, I could not help myself. I had to see what was going on. This is where I feel the need to explain that I found it so odd because my girlfriend has told me everything about her past, her family, her childhood. I can name every single pet that she's ever had. I've met her parents, both of her siblings, and quite a few of our other family members, and not once, at least anyone that she knows, not once did she tell me she knows anyone in prison or that she's communicating with anyone in prison. So as it turns out, these letters dated way back before we even started dating. And the most recent one was from 3 months ago. Obviously, I didn't see the ones she sent because they're in the prison, but the ones she received are all very affectionate, for lack of a better term, like something long distance lovers would write to each other. I know Jay has an interest in true crime. She watches the documentaries, listens to the podcast, and nothing too unusual though, but I recognized the guy's name pretty quickly, and knowing what he did and finding out that my girlfriend, who I adore and love so deeply, actually talks to him in this way is really fucking with my head. I don't know if naming him violates some kind of rules, but let's just say his case was huge, fairly recent, like within the last 5 years. He very brutally killed his pregnant wife and 2 kids, and he even confessed, for fuck's sake. I ended up reading through about 3 or 4 of the letters until they literally made me sick. Then I put everything back just the way I found it, cleaned up the mess in the bathroom, and drove myself home. I texted her some made-up excuse that I was feeling better and I just wanted to sleep in my own bed so that I could go to work the next day. I want to talk to her about it, but I just don't know. No. I still love her deeply. I miss her every hour of every day, and...
Pause. What would you do? Be honest. Be honest with them. Be honest with me.
A year of being together? I would call her out on it. I'd say, hey, I'll be honest. I was looking, like, it is what happened. Threw up. Found this box. Kind of weird. And I'm not feeling great about it. I'm not going to let it just sit. I'm not the one to let something sit on my conscience if it's bothering me. And so, want to know what's going on. Why are you writing this person? Why does it sound like there's more than just pen pal there? Mm-hmm. Most likely, no matter what she says, I'd leave her. No matter what she says, she's done. Done. If I'm assuming how Stephanie was saying, affectionate, like lovers would write long distance. So if I get that vibe in any way in the last 3 months, we've been together for a year, red flag, chopped up. Ooh, didn't mean that. What would you do? You look like someone that would probably like never mention it and
just carry on.
Yeah, maybe like just start crying.
No, I think I'd show up to the prison. I'd go straight to the prison, go right to the source.
Okay, with the prisons across country.
Looks like I'm going on a country trip.
You're right, dude.
No, I'm just kidding.
You'd be so scared. You'd be like...
I would probably do what this person did. I would go home. I would text and say, hey, I just want to sleep in my own bed. As soon as I'm better, like, let's meet up. And I would meet up in a public place. That's one detail that you forgot to mention. Because you have no idea what might come of bringing this up.
I'll bring my strap next time I met her if I was like meeting her in her house.
Okay, then. Well, I would meet her in a public place, somewhere nice, like Chipotle. And...
Somewhere nice? Is that a joke?
No.
I love Chipotle, but that's not like somewhere nice.
That is a very, very nice place.
You think that's a fine establishment?
It's a great establishment. Always clean, meat always fresh. You know, restrooms are good.
Always fresh.
Anyway, that's
What are you, Subway?
You're getting caught up in the wrong details, and I would confront her in public just in case. Now let's carry on and see what.
Yeah, how is this a serial killer's message?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Is she married to him? To the guy that's in bars? Behind bars? But then...
No.
But the message is... Okay, I gotta see how this plays out.
You don't hurt your brain.
Sleeping like I'm super distracted throughout the day. I'm trying to figure out how to handle this. I still love her deeply, but how do I move past this? Is there a part of this that I'm not considering? To which most netizens are responding, speculating that his girlfriend is writing to Chris Watts, who, side note, if you don't know Chris Watts, he murdered his pregnant wife and their 2 daughters, who were 3 and 4 years old. He smothered his daughters to death and then strangled his pregnant wife.
Did you watch this video?
His actions undeniably get worse. He dumped his daughter's body.
He puts them into the work, his construction, like in the...
Yeah, the barrel.
The barrels, yeah. There's a documentary. What is it, like in Phoenix, or where are they?
Yeah, it was something like that. But I just remember, I think it was EWU.
Yeah,
they show up to his house.
Nonchalant.
He's like, yeah, come on in. Like, he's talking to the cops. Yeah, anyways, okay. I remember this case. I bet you she did this. She probably covered this case, if I had to guess.
That's a good point.
All right.
She probably should mention that, right?
She probably will, yeah.
Daughters' bodies into oil tanks. The oil tank openings are only like 8 inches in diameter. He had to shove his children's bodies into the tanks to get them inside. They basically got scalped in the process of this. Then he goes on to do a whole media tour, if you will, pleading for his missing family's safe return until it's revealed Chris Watts was having an affair and he's the one that annihilated his whole family.
The affair is that he was caught like
Jay.
outside of his house.
Yes.
The viral video, right?
Yes. And like side note, he does have this moment where he tries to argue that his wife killed the kids. And in return, he was so upset and distraught that he killed his wife. So if it's true that OP's girlfriend is exchanging affectionate letters with Chris Watts, I mean, most of the comments read along the lines of, it's one thing to watch true crime shows and be intrigued by aspects of how someone could possibly do something so extreme, but to write letters to someone like that? Others comment, I mean, it's one thing to be intrigued by extreme human behavior, but craving a connection with such people is alarming. Maybe it's like a surge of adrenaline for her, but in all honesty, I would personally be very worried and think twice about moving in with her. Another one just writes, no way your girlfriend is emotionally cheating on you with Chris Watts and you're thinking of staying with her, crying emoji.
No way.
Any person who would ever associate with a man like that is very, very messed up. Not only is your girlfriend completely unempathetic to the pregnant wife and children that were murdered, but she's also mind-numbingly stupid to believe any sort of sob story that this murderer is spinning. But it's an interesting thought, is it not? Or more likely a fear that a lot of netizens have, because you never really know who you're dating. Others say, yeah, this is bad, but at least OP caught it early. I mean, sometimes you marry the person and then you realize too late that they're a little bit bizarre and that something bizarre is happening. Some netizens argue, if life is a competition, which it's not, but if it is, at least his girlfriend that he adores did not kill anyone. Because there are other people that wake up one morning and realize the person that they married is the killer. I mean, hypothetically speaking, what do you do?
True.
If you wake up and your husband is a serial killer, your wife is a serial killer. Seattle went through this very dark period in Washington. For almost 20 years, they had an active serial killer operating in Seattle. Initially, people were terrified. I mean, the residents were terrified for 20 years, but they're also getting so fed up. Why the hell can't the police catch this guy? What's the big deal? You pass by the magazine stand in the grocery store, all the headlines, they're so bleak. This is being described as one of the nastiest homicides in King County record. Bodies of young women found near Green River. What's their connection? Green River killer continues to elude massive task force. It's believed that the Green River serial killer has taken the lives of up to 71 victims.
Is this solved? Wow. Or unsolved?
It's solved. Oh. And it's scary, but at least Judith from Seattle feels some semblance of security, considering she lives with her husband, Gary. I mean, he's kind of like an old school gentleman. He pulls out the chairs for her. She doesn't even remember the last time that she opened her own car door when he's nearby. This has been her marriage for the past 13 years. Until there's a knock on the door. She opens the door, and it's a swarm of Seattle police. Gary is not who she thinks he is. Gary is the Green River killer.
Wow.
And initially, she did not believe them. In fact, for 2 years, she stands by her husband's side because how can he be a sexual sadist? That doesn't even make sense. First of all, their intimate life is very active. I mean, why? I mean, she thinks the police have the wrong guy until he confesses. That's when things slowly start clicking for her. The carpets that he was removing from the home after she had been on a trip, she thought he just wanted to fix up the place. It lines up with the time that he had killed a woman on the carpet and there were blood stains. She remembered at one point he had gotten rid of the bed frame. This is when they were first dating. He had gotten rid of it because he had brought a victim there and killed them and didn't want the blood to be left behind. She says all she could think was, was my life real with him or did he just use me? He made me smile every day. I had the perfect husband. I had the perfect life, and he was the perfect serial killer. Initially, Judith does not really have anyone to talk to about any of this. The community, they actually feel that Judith must have known to some degree. That's what they're all thinking. Right? I mean, some of them aren't saying it because 13 years, how do you not know? This is the person that's closest to you. You sleep in the same room as them on a daily basis. A lot of people would drive by her house, take her planters, smash them onto the ground. Once she asked a neighbor to watch her cat for her, which they graciously said, of course we'll watch your cat. She goes back to get the cat back and they slam the door in her face. The words exchanged included something along the lines of, "No, you're married to the Green River Killer. You can't have your cat back."
What?
Oh my god.
Seemingly intentionally to take her cat.
That's against the law.
Wow.
It's an interesting perspective in everything that's going on because with all these cases, you have the victims, you have the victims' families, you have the serial killer's families, the detectives, witnesses, the jury, the judge, the prosecutors, defense attorneys, media, and then the serial killer's partners. They're kind of like a forgotten piece of everything. I feel like people care more so about the serial killer's parents, the upbringing, more than they do their current lives.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some truth to that.
A few weeks ago, we received an email. The title being, "I was married to a serial killer for 7.5 years. I need help."
Wow, that was all the intro.
Wait, she received the email? Like they wrote her?
No.
Yeah, that's true.
A few weeks ago, we received an email. The title being, "I was married to a serial killer for 7.5 years. I need help."
So it is. They're reaching out to Stephanie specifically.
That's crazy. Told you, dude. Pay attention.
You did tell me.
Don't.
Boom.
Don't. Ron? You want to go?
I would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the NECMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, as well as the GoFundMe for Labna to help aid in the pursuit of getting her son back. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. A few disclaimers for today's case. We could not get too much information on the new Cairo serial killer. Most sources were in Arabic, and we did have someone that speaks Arabic on the team to assist, but we couldn't do as much of a thorough deep dive like we normally do, considering it felt like for this particular case, time is of the essence. The big issue here being there is a child that has been kidnapped by a serial killer's family. But as always, perhaps more so on this episode, if there's anything that you felt was mistranslated, miscommunicated, or anything additional please leave it in the comments for all of us to read. Labna reached out to us to assist in getting her message out. However, she said she was unable to talk about the case itself or anything that could put her in legal hot water as she's still trying to get her son back. She's also stated that she's been getting death threats from the serial killer's side of the family. She still wishes to get her message out and find her son, but I think she's being smart and rightfully cautious about making comments towards them, about their son, the serial killer, for her own safety. Which brings us to another disclaimer. Nothing I say in this video is a representation of Labna's thoughts or experiences or opinions. I've exchanged a few emails with her, but I'm not privy to any sort of private thoughts or information, so keep that in mind. And with that being said, there are mentions of domestic violence as well as SA, so please watch at your own discretion, take care of yourself, and let's get into it.
You know what SA
How
is,
much
right?
do you really know your husband?
Just checking.
I mean, it's the age-old question, right? Darcy Brudos didn't know that her husband had a thing for feet. Okay, if we're being specific, Jerry has a thing for shoes, high-heeled shoes, and women's lingerie. But their marriage is not the type of marriage where they openly talk about things like this. For Darcy's husband, Jerry, maybe he doesn't mention it because it's always been like this for him. It's like mentioning that I have 5 toes on my right foot. It rings true to me, and it's been like that for as long as I can remember, so maybe I wouldn't consider it a big thing to announce to my husband, hey, I have 5 toes on my right foot. Jerry's fascination with high-heeled stilettos is like that. It starts at a really...
Pause. Dude, I didn't even think about that. I think she meant 6 toes.
Yeah.
Because when I was listening to that, I was like, oh, she has an extra toe is what she's using as an example.
But I'm like, my shoes are off right now. I'm like, wait a minute. I have 5 toes on my right foot. I have 5 fingers. I have 5 toes on both feet.
That's funny.
Young age. But he blames his family friend. She had fallen asleep at the Jerry Brudos home, the family home. He sneaks in there and sees that she's wearing these high-heeled shoes. And something about the way that her foot arches, the way that her toes are just cramped into those stilettos, it unlocks something in him. He tries to slowly creep up on her and grab the heel of one stiletto and slowly peel it off so that he can steal it while she's asleep. Unsurprisingly, she wakes up. His plan goes down the drain, but it awakens something inside of him. Instead of stopping, he goes and he hides in his first-grade teacher's desk to steal her high-heeled shoes.
What?
He fails. But naturally, none of this is mentioned to his wife, Darcy. He also fails to mention at a young age, in middle school, he would go and steal undergarments from his friend's sisters. He had a thing for sniffing their undies, but that eventually escalates to him putting them on. He would steal them and then model them on himself. Or when Jerry turned 16, he had this lightning bolt strike of creative problem solving. He masterminds this whole plan. He would lure women to his home, trick them typically. When he was alone with them, he would give them a full tour of his bedroom before excusing himself. Let me just grab a water. Let me use the restroom. I'll be right back. But when he comes back into the room, he's changed into a new set of clothes. He's wearing a mask, holding a knife and a camera. He forces the women to strip down while he takes pictures, all whilst threatening to take their lives if they don't comply. Then when he gets the pictures he wants, he leaves. He takes off the masks, ruffles his hair, changes back into the first pair of clothes he invited the victim over with, runs back into the room. The craziest thing just happened. There was a masked, knife-wielding man that had just broken into the house, tied me up so that they could get pictures of you or something. They left.
That's crazy.
No way he got away with that. No way.
And it worked?
Yeah, I think sometimes it worked. Other times the girls were just too scared to say anything.
Oh my.
Sometimes laziness would get the best of Jerry. He would eventually ditch the mask. Home intruder ruse out the window. And then he would just part his hair differently. He would part his hair, walk into the room and be like, I'm Jerry's non-existent brother, Ed. And you better strip down and I'm going to take pictures of you or else. He would even start fondling the victims. Perhaps it's the sheer confidence in how he does it. Some of the victims truly believed that they were essayed not by Jerry, but by his brother Ed. Keep in mind, this is all happening while he's in high school. It only gets worse as he grows up. He begins stalking women. And at first, he would just stalk them to strangle them, to steal their shoes, their stilettos. I mean, the shoes didn't even necessarily have to be on someone. It could be him. He would wear them.
I think
in
I saw
another
this guy
arrest,
on
he's
Mine
found in a
Hunters.
college dorm wearing jean shorts, women's underwear, and high heels. And then it stops. He marries his wife, Darcy, and he thinks, the past is the past. I'm not even interested in that stuff anymore. I love Darcy. Darcy's my wife, okay? They're going to be in love. They're going to have kids, which they do. They do have kids, but they're no longer in love. Not that it matters, considering Jerry Brudos is a serial killer. So with his wife in the same house as Jerry, he would go back to his teenage ways of inviting people into the house, luring them, but now he's killing them. He's strangling them until they're unconscious, essaying their bodies. He's spending sometimes multiple business days to perform acts of necrophilia on the corpses. His favorite thing to do was, remember how he stole underwear and shoes? He had closets. He had so much stolen stilettos and underwear. His favorite pastime was to dress the victims' bodies in those stolen items and then take pictures like they're his personal dolls solely existing to model his garments. He would obsessively dress and redress the victims over and over and over again. And unfortunately, Jerry was a big souvenir guy. The first victim, he sawed off her foot and kept it in their family freezer in the basement.
No!
And he would take it out anytime he wanted a foot model. His second victim, he cut off her breasts to keep as souvenirs. But even after he cut off their breasts, he still wanted to play dress up with the corpses. So he would stick paper towels where the breasts used to be and put a bra on to take pictures for his collection.
Gosh,
Another victim, he kept her corpse in the garage after essaying and killing her. He had her hanging in the garage on a pulley system so that he could dress her in different outfits and shoes. He would even try to electrocute her to get her to, quote, dance and look alive. Which brings many to the question of how much did Darcy, his wife, actually know about what Jerry was doing? Most of his murders were committed inside the house. She did not go on lengthy business trips or trips with her children while he was killing. So did she hear nothing, see nothing, sense nothing? On one occasion, he even had dinner with his wife and kids while the victim was tied up alive in the basement. The police firmly believe that Darcy knew something. So they arrest her. They bring her in, interrogate her as an accomplice. And they're confronting her. You're telling us that you saw this chopped off breast laying around in the house. And you thought, I thought it was a paperweight.
What?
That you get from like one of those sick antique stores, I guess, because it was encased in resin.
Jail.
He didn't just have like a flesh breast. He had put it into resin to mold it.
Wow.
I mean, it's almost unbelievable, right? Except that it's true. Darcy had no clue. She had been forbidden from entering the garage, basement, and freezer. After Jerry's arrest, he tried to ask Darcy to get rid of evidence, and she refused. She truly was oblivious to all the signs, like many wives of serial killers.
This is just another serial killer? From the Green River one?
Yeah. A lot of them have wives that had no clue.
Wow.
And they never kill their wives because, some people argue maybe there's some sort of emotional attachment. It's definitely more of a disguise. I don't think that there's any serial killer that truly cared much for their family members. I don't think that they had the capability to do that.
Yeah.
For Darcy Brudos, the signs were objectively a bit more obvious.
You ever watch the show
What about the New Cairo serial killer?
Only like an episode.
The guy that they call the Butcher of Egypt. What are the signs there?
This is the wife who reached out, right?
Yes. 3 bodies, all dumped on this stretch of desert land in Egypt. The Egyptian authorities have a problem. They've got 3 bodies. I mean, they're clearly connected. All 3 women have been murdered. They've been dumped along the desert road. There's evidence that they've been whipped pretty badly. Their necks are all broken, potentially strangulation. There are clear signs of torture wounds. There's and other drugs in each woman's system. I mean, it's pretty much undeniable that they're linked. But other than the same torture wounds, there is nothing else that can help the investigators. All 3 women live in different areas. They don't know each other. They range in age between 19 to 37. What is the connection between these 3 women? Once the bodies are located, news starts spreading. There's a serial killer active in Egypt. Some are calling him the Butcher. There's only been about 4 well-known serial killers from Egypt, and the police have no leads. Until a father walks into the station. My daughter, she's missing. Okay, when was the last time you saw her? She told me she was going to study English with a professor, an English professor, I think. His name is Kareem. He's a famous TikToker.
So this is all happening very recently?
2024, early 2024.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Kareem's TikTok account was called Hooked on Phonics. It has since been suspended, but Kareem, the police are now investigating, is an English teacher living in Egypt, and his whole TikTok account is to try and teach non-native English speakers English. He would have a harder to pronounce English word on the screen for non-native speakers.
How do you say this word? Exquisite.
Exquisite.
It means very pretty. And this one? Ecstatic.
Ecstatic.
Or you know how sometimes when you learn English in a non-English speaking country, you learn phrases that most native speakers won't use? Like when someone asks you, how are you? The response that a lot of non-native speakers learn is, I'm fine, thank you, and you? but that's rarely ever heard in natural conversations. So he would make these little TikToks saying things like, don't say, I'm sorry. Say, I apologize. Which I'm not sure what the difference is. He would also do these TikToks with his cute son, who's about 9 years old, named Zane, where they would go over all the ways in which you can merge words in English. Instead of saying, give me, you say, and the little son would say, give me that. Instead of saying want to, you say, I wanna go home.
Wow.
Like the son is in the video. You can see him.
Yes.
Okay.
Got to.
Gotta. I gotta go.
Out of.
Outa. I'm out of time.
In another TikTok, Kareem, the now suspect, does a little skit. How do I tell a woman you're so beautiful? He's like in a nerdy outfit and he's asking a cool guy, who is also him cosplaying as the cool guy. How do I tell a woman you're so beautiful? You're like a dream come true. Your beauty is like a priceless masterpiece. I'm sorry, you're breathtakingly gorgeous. I'm out of breath.
Wow.
You're beautiful, gorgelicious. You look absolutely fantastic. In another one, he says, don't say I'm tired. It's boring. Instead, use these slang terms instead. Exhaustipated. I've never heard that. Fatigue. Pooped. Tie-tie. Bed deprived. ZZZ-ish. Naptastic. Zonked. Chica-boom bed. Again, I don't know where he's getting any of these.
Zonked is valid.
Then he has this moment where his inflection goes down and he says,
Dead. Beat. Wrecked.
How many followers does he have?
660,000.
Wow.
That's no small amount.
His account has some odd moments like that one, but I would hardly call it odd. I mean, there's nothing alarming or damning on his social media accounts. A lot of people are reposting some old videos with some creepy music, but it's more so hindsight. There's nothing in his...
I know this has nothing to do with this, but did you saw the TikToker who murdered his wife and the
in
guy?
San Diego. That was
in
the
San Diego.
Same building that Jake used to live in. And Aaron Crescent used to live in there too.
Oh, yeah. That story was crazy.
Yeah.
Like how he did Al Pacino
Yeah.
impersonations and stuff. Yeah.
That was a wild. Yeah, I watched that full documentary and I remember.
Yeah.
About it,
Yeah. Okay.
Inherently, that's alarming. It's just him teaching questionable slang that I've never heard most English speakers use.
Is he here in the U.S. or he's in Egypt?
He's in Egypt, but he was briefly in the U.S. He grew up in the U.S. I believe he might hold U.S. citizenship.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
The police need to find out more about this guy, Kareem, to see if he really is the butcher. Because again, his TikTok presence doesn't really tell them anything. Mm-hmm. Kareem taught English at a local school, to which some sources say that the coworkers who knew him as the rose guy, the flower, which sounds like a good thing. He would randomly show up to work with a singular rose, hand it to a coworker, his male or female colleagues, it didn't matter, which again kind of sounds inherently sweet if it's not creepy and not HR worthy, like reporting worthy, but the rose usually comes as a form of an apology. If these incidents are true, his coworkers likely hated seeing the damn roses. It's alleged that he would blow up on coworkers over nothing. Truly, it felt like if you looked at the guy strange or you said something that irked him for reasons unknown to you, he would just blow up. And the very next day, he would bring you a singular rose presented to he verbally assaulted the day before.
That's
and they would be
how
forced to forgive him, or they would be
Big
seen
red
as the
flag.
difficult one at work.
Maybe
If these
bipolar.
personal accounts are true, it appears Kareem has a whiplash-inducing personality. Some that knew Kareem personally said he's incredibly helpful, to the point that one could call him a generous, elegant man. But you know when someone is too nice to you? But it doesn't feel like genuine.
Yeah.
There's this second layer of ick that hits you, but you can't explain it in correct words. I don't know why, because you just sound like an ungrateful person. No, yeah, they were so nice to me. Of course, they helped me move, but it just feels like they're not doing it with good intentions. But then who are you to complain, because they've helped you? A lot of people said that Kareem appeared to like helping people because that automatically puts him at the top position, the one that is helping and not the one being helped. They say he was born to this financially secure family with a seemingly unsufferable air of superiority to them. It seems like he has this complicated chip on his shoulder, considering he wants to be known as successful, but he wants to be successful on his own. But the reality is, the only thing that makes him successful and special is the fact that his parents are financially okay. Everyone knows that his success depends on his dad, and he knew that everybody knows that. Side note, it's been said by people close to him that he genuinely does not care about his dad, not even in the slightest. He uses his dad like a bank. He calls his dad, "Dad, I need a new iPhone." Magically, a new iPhone would appear, and by this point, this man is 37 years old.
Pause. You okay?
Yeah, my back just tightened up. Like I did like a movement, like I felt it like in tight, so I felt like I just wanted to stretch it out.
Do you want to sit?
No, it's fine. It's better now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Take care of yourselves, you guys. This is what old age looks like.
You're not cutting that out, huh? Yeah.
No, they just get us raw, real. TVG.
Yeah. I have a goal. I want to start stretching, doing yoga.
Mobility.
Mobility is key as you get older. It's crazy. I used to laugh when people would be like, wait till you get old and your back starts hurting. Like, that's never going to happen to me. I'm so athletic. And lo and behold, here I am. Just a little bit of back issues.
Just standing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a serial killer? This little daddy's boy, the butcher of Egypt? It doesn't even sound similar. The authorities track his car, his whereabouts, and interestingly enough, his car shows up at the spots where the bodies are dumped. So it's time to get this guy.
Oh, no.
The Fifth Settlement is one of the most well-known wealthy areas in Cairo. The detectives are staring at each other. Are you sure this is the right place? Like, this is where Karim lives? They speak with the landlord, and there are signs. Like what? Okay, for one, he was adamant that he needed a fully soundproofed, encased room. He said that he was always creating music, I don't know, recording social media videos, that out of respect for his neighbors and for his son that lives with him, he needs a room that you can't hear out of once you go inside. He would like crisp, pure audio for his videos. That's what he said. When authorities get upstairs to the unit, they find the soundproof room, but they also find various drugs and what has been described by many sources as instruments of torture. They try to arrest Karim, who tries to miserably fail at making a run for it. They chase him down, they arrest him, and immediately states he has no idea what the police are talking about because he's insane. He's mentally unwell.
Then why'd he run?
Cannot be held liable for his actions. He doesn't even know what they're referring to.
So this whole case happened because they found 3 bodies on the side of the road. And did 3 of them all die around the same time?
Yes, relatively.
Okay.
It was like pretty back to back, that there was some sort of connection.
Back to back?
It was, the cool off period, if you will, for the serial killer was very low.
And then he just left them in public, just like that?
Like on stretches of desert land.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Also found in his apartment were deleted but recovered videos from his phone and laptop that show him murdering the 3 victims. Videos of him drugging, essaying, and torturing the victims. Not unlike Jerry Burgos. Eventually, he tells the authorities what happened. He would lure the women to his apartment, drug them with meth and other drugs. At one point, it seems like he's trying to get brownie points for the fact that he fed them narcotics, which would help with the pain that he was inflicting on them. He's like, you know what?
Oh my God.
I am inflicting a lot of pain. However, I gave them drugs, so it should decrease the pain that they felt. Sometimes he would even engage in watching sexually sadistic videos while his victims were in his home, incapacitated. Then he would begin his torture. He would start out first by assaulting them, whipping them, pulling their hair, then slowly transitioning into ripping out their nails. He keeps the process slow, painful. Sometimes the victims would be at his apartment for 18 days at a time. It's unclear how many of those days were them consensually believing that they're spending time with a friend versus how many of those days are them actively being tortured and killed. It appears that he likes to relish in the pain that women feel.
So sad.
When he thinks he's done, he slowly strangles them to death, usually with a rope or an iron chain. But even then, he will continue engaging in sexual acts with their corpses.
That is crazy. How do you just coming out
this TikToker
like this?
Yeah.
There must be a lot of red flags before this.
A lot. By this point, the body is completely disfigured. He takes the body to the desert and disposes of them. And a total of 3 bodies were found in the desert, but Karim admits there could be at least 6 or more victims. Like at least 6 total victims or more. Unfortunately, most people believe it's a lot more than that. Neighbors said that there were lots of girls going in and out of the house. Alarmingly, sometimes they would even hear screams. But they would stop mid-scream. So it sounded like a scream, but maybe you're goofing around. Maybe you see a bug, you scream, but you don't keep screaming. You don't scream, help me. You just scream once in shock. When Kareem is arrested, the police take into custody his 9-year-old son, Zayn, who was living with him. They need to find the next person that would have custody over Zayn because Kareem can't take care of him. Kareem is going to face the death penalty.
That's crazy. So the son was living in the same house?
Yes.
Wow.
How?
They ask Kareem, where is your son's mother? He responds, she's dead. December 13th, 2024, a TikTok goes viral of a woman named Lubna. It's her wearing a blue hoodie, sitting in front of her camera, and she looks very serious. She starts off,
so I was married to a serial killer
literally
for
a month
7.5 years. All my videos have been in Arabic to reach the Arabic community. So basically the serial killer, he tried to kill me many times. He tried to kill my sister many times. And then he got caught with 3 bodies in his apartment in a torture chamber. And he's very known in Egypt and the Arab world. And this was recent. This was like 7 months ago. So he had kidnapped my son from me 3 years ago. And anytime I tried to get him, he would basically try to kill me and try to ruin my life and try to find me. Like, I'd be at places and he'd just show up and I'd have to run. And it was just
oh my.
So finally,
wait,
when
she
he got
dies
caught this May, end of May, they locked him up. He's gonna get hung very soon, hopefully. But the problem is, whenever he got locked up, he told the police that I was dead. So his mom took my son. And till now, it's been 7 months. I haven't seen my son. I haven't heard from my son. She's kidnapped him. I filed all police papers, all court papers. I have full custody. I have educational custody. I have every single right. I just could not find this woman.
the serial killer's mom, Zayn's grandma.
Wow.
So I just need the English world to hear my story, because very soon I'm going to be on a big channel, like something very big that we all have in our house, and you're going to hear my story. But I really hope before that happens I get my son back, which I'm dying, honestly. I'm like dying to see him. I'm dying to talk to him again. I just need as much exposure as possible. And this lady might be in America, she might be still in Egypt, but who knows? Who knows? I need to find her, and I need everyone's help as much as possible. If you go to my older videos, you'll find pictures of my son. I have put pictures of her there.
Wait, this must be
So
ongoing, which is why Stephanie's...
If any media sources can help me to get my story out there, to help me find my son that I have full rights to, please help me.
This is Kareem Salim's wife, and she is not dead. She had to flee Egypt for her own safety, and now she can't get her son back. Lubna says that she found out through the internet that her ex-husband, the father of her child, that had her child, had been arrested in Egypt for being a serial killer. She says in an interview in Egypt, she says, "I couldn't believe it. The first thing she did was call her attorney and just kept asking, is it true? Is it true?" I mean, for a second, she thought it was fake so that she would have to fly to Egypt. It wouldn't be the first time. After she fled Egypt, fearing for her own safety, he would try to lure her back into the country.
Wow.
All these
Seems like a cute
methods.
kid.
So her sisters live in Egypt. He would call them and say, your sister Lubna is dead. You need to come to the morgue to ID her body. And when they came, it's likely that he was, I don't know, these are just allegations and speculations that I personally and a lot of netizens have. He would likely hold the sisters captive to make Lubna come to Egypt.
Did she go?
No.
Jeez.
She hasn't been back in Egypt, I don't think, for a while. I mean, she is now, but...
Oh, she is in Egypt right now.
She's searching for her son.
Okay.
But if this is true, that he's a serial killer, Lubna says it was jarring. And again, this is speculation. I'm sure a part of her felt guilty because perhaps she could have done something to prevent it. But she always felt like she was under the assumption that he just wanted to kill her, which makes sense when you're in a very abusive relationship with someone who's violent. You don't necessarily think that they're a serial killer.
Yeah.
You think that they want to kill you because you're in this relationship with them, right? She did not know that he was out to kill people. Otherwise, she probably would have done something.
Yeah.
She said, I thought I was the only one he tried to kill. At this point, Lubna just knows that she doesn't have her son, Zayn.
That's why she
Kareem's mother, Zayn's
messaged
grandmother,
Stephanie.
has him, and she wants him back. She packs all of her clothes. She had fled to the UK at this point because she's a UK citizen. She's a UK national. She grabs all her clothes, leaves everything else, gets on the first flight to Egypt. But the minute she gets there, she reaches out to Kareem's mom, who has her son, and she blocks Lubna. Does not accept her calls, nothing. The message is clear. You're not getting your son back.
Wow.
To Lubna, Kareem was a very normal person when they first started dating. Like the first few years of marriage, he's very normal, very polite, well-mannered, if not even a charismatic guy. It's not until they have their son Zayn, things implode. Zayn is Lubna's whole world because, you know, when you become a mom, you care about your kids a lot and maybe more than anything else in the world. But Kareem does not like that. He starts getting jealous that Lubna is putting Zayn first. Anytime he felt Zayn's, their literal baby's needs were put before his own, which would be all the time and should be all the time, he would blow up on Lubna, getting incredibly aggressive and upset. He became this controlling menace. According to one source that we had translated, he apparently was even in a TikTok where he was promoting an app that helps track your family's location. But the messaging is more so, keep your wife and children safe, which in hindsight is very alarming. Regardless, the relationship just deteriorates from there. He accuses Lubna of cheating on him nonstop. Meanwhile, Lubna literally finds videos of him cheating on her. He would record videos of himself having intimate relations with other women while married with a child. But anytime she would confront him about it, he would beat her, strangle her until she's passed out on the floor, and then he would sob and weep that he was sorry. I think it probably doesn't help that Lubna and Kareem would move around a lot.
Toxic much?
At some points they were in Egypt, at some points they were in Michigan in the United States, then back to Egypt. It's harder to leave an abusive relationship when you're not in the most familiar territory with a strong support system. One might assume that Lubna also stayed because Kareem's family was financially secure. You know, perhaps it's hard for her to find that stability anywhere else. But that's not true either. Kareem was astonishingly lazy. He refused to work. Lubna was the one making most of the money, paying for their things and taking care of their kids. She says, he tried to kill me several times. He tried to kill my siblings too. All of them are younger than me. This proceeds for about 6 years. Lubna keeps trying to leave Kareem, and he keeps coming back and beating her. And I'm sure it's made much more complicated by the fact that they share a child. Eventually, she decides she's going to leave him. She's going to take Zayn with her, put her foot down, and conveniently, Kareem is like, can I just have a play date with my son? I miss him so much. Just for a few hours, take him out to dinner.
He takes him.
Lubna agrees, but that would be the last time she sees her son, Zayn. That was 3 years ago. So from what we can piece together from our sources, as a way to make sure that Lubna cannot come back for her son, Kareem files for divorce and accuses her of adultery, stating that he caught her with his own 2 eyes sleeping with his best friend, which I doubt, but regardless, adultery is punishable by law in Egypt, whereas domestic violence was not.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So she's facing that, in addition to Kareem waiting outside her place of residence for 4 days straight, threatening to kill her. She had to put on a disguise to leave everything and flee Egypt 3 years ago. And that's why she has attorneys, because for the past 3 years, she's trying to get her son back.
Wow.
She's trying not to get killed, because if she gets killed, then her son is forever going to be with Kareem, right? She's just trying to get her son back. She's a British citizen. She's hiring attorneys, spending every cent that she makes on her attorneys, trying to figure out what to do, how to do this. But now that Kareem's been arrested for being a serial killer, she still can't get her son back. He has been, quote unquote, given to Kareem's mother, and she refuses to let Lubna see her son, let alone, she doesn't even know where they are. Lubna believes they might be in Egypt or maybe in Michigan. Now, if you're wondering why Michigan, Kareem used to live there when he was younger. He does have a U.S. citizenship. I don't know if he gave it up for an Egyptian citizenship or if it's dual, but he essayed a girl in Michigan. He does have a criminal record in the United States. He was arrested, and afterwards he moved to Egypt to, I guess, have a clean start, because that's on his record. He can't really get a job in the U.S. That's why after they had kids, after they had Zayn, they were in the U.S. for a while. He couldn't work. So she's working. At this point, the authorities have found 3 bodies, but it's believed that there are at least 6 victims.
Crazy story.
At the very least, potentially more. The defense argument lied on Kareem being out of his mind. His lawyer argued that Kareem did not intend to commit premeditated murder. The victims went to him on their own free will. And in fact, if anything, they were benefiting from him. You know, Kareem was spending lavishly on them. That's what the attorney is alleging, which...
How is that?
I need to know what's happening right now
Yeah,
with this guy.
if someone buys you a Gucci belt, can you just kill them? I don't understand this defense. It's mind-boggling. But he continues, we are facing a strange case that we need to study. My client is a mentally ill person that feels remorse after committing those crimes and should be referred to a medical hospital with a committee of psychiatrists rather than being executed, which the judge clearly did not entertain. Kareem Salim was sentenced to death, to be hanged. And now Lubna is desperately looking for her son. She reaches out every single day to her son and grandmother. Someone is reading the messages because it says read, but she doesn't know who. She messages her son before she goes to sleep. She doesn't go to sleep much or wake up without thinking about how to get her son back. Her message for her son is, Zayn, I'm never going to stop looking for you until the day that I die, until my very last breath. She says, I used to know what his favorite food was. I don't know if it's changed. I don't know if he's taller than me now. I don't know what he looks like other than from the videos and pictures that were posted on Kareem's TikTok. I don't know what his voice sounds like anymore. I can't see my son. I can't talk to him. I don't know what he loves, what he hates now, how he's growing up. I don't know how he lives his life. I don't know if he goes to school, if he likes school, what subjects he likes. I don't know anything. Because also, you have to think from 6 to 9, it's a huge developmental period where a lot of things change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her last memory was about a week before she last saw her son. Zayn asked to purchase a bunch of balloons at the store, and the two of them walked around the shopping center, and he would give out balloons to strangers. And she thought it was so fascinating. That's who her son is. He's the type to open doors for strangers for her. And for right now, Lubna's life is on hold. That's kind of how she explains it. She doesn't feel good. She just wants her son back. She's lost about 40 pounds in the past few months, but she's not going to give up. She says when they reunite, she's going to take him to the beach because that's our thing. We love the beach. In one interview in Arabic, she says, someone please help me. Someone stand up with me. Come with me, please. I finally reached the end. I may look okay and be talking on the outside, but on the inside, I'm broken. So most netizens are just trying to get the word out right now to figure out how to get Lubna back.
So did the guy die?
Be, one of the rare times that we show a child's face that is, not super, I guess, certain cases you see the child's face, like John Benet Ramsey. It's hard to not see her face anywhere when you talk about her, but for this case, if you see him, please reach out to authorities. That's what Lubna says. Reach out to Lubna because legally she has custody. So if that child is with anybody else, that is against the law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's either in America or in Egypt.
Yes.
In America, there's Michigan. But in America, he should be in school.
Yes. She has educational custody, and that's a point that she brings up. Nobody can enroll him in school without her because she has educational custody. She is worried that he's missing out on school right now, too, because it's a developmental time that he needs to be in school. He needs to have some sort of semblance of normalcy, right? Because it's just, but a lot of people comment schools these days, if you're a grandma, you can prove they're the grandma, they're not really gonna check.
Right.
Some schools,
It'd be so easy.
I don't know if every school will check, but if he is in school, then I feel like he will be,
be
found pretty quickly. So if I feel like it's more likely that he's being hidden away,
not in
because
school.
of it's already getting so
much
I think
attention.
so.
Yeah.
Like if he was in school, he'd probably be pulled out of school by now.
Or like
if he's 9, he's
at least
gotta get smart enough to
that's
reach
my
out to his
friend
mom
or my
sometimes.
classmate.
Oh yes, yeah, that's true. I haven't seen
No, but a teacher, someone would recognize
that.
him.
He could also be in Egypt, and maybe
I
know
think he's
it's
in
gone
Egypt.
viral in the English-speaking world. It seems less viral in the Arabic-speaking world. I think Kareem's case is viral, but perhaps maybe not her pleas to get her son back. I don't know. The whole thing is so heartbreaking. I do believe that her son is an American national, though. But I don't know. Some people are recommending Lubna go to the U.S. Embassy. I think that she has. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that she has. But just to remind you guys, so many kids go missing in America.
That's true.
It's not just go to the embassy, everything's solved.
Yeah.
So if you guys see anything, hear anything, sense anything, let Levna know. I'm gonna link her GoFundMe as well as her TikTok. Just message her with actual information, I would say, and show her support in her videos. But if you're gonna DM her, make sure you have some information, because I think it deletes the DMs. But yes, if you know anything, let her know. And with that, please stay safe, everyone. And I will see you in the next one.
Wow.
I want to donate something.
Yeah, make it from both of us.
She has almost 6,000. Is that euros? I don't know if that's euros.
Yeah, that looks like euros because she's in the UK.
Yeah.
That's pounds.
Pounds. Almost 6,000 pounds raised.
Which is probably like 7,500 US dollar.
But I'd imagine that
Ish.
it would cost a whole lot more, so I will we will donate because this story is crazy.
It is in so many ways, especially being a father. Like I couldn't imagine, like as a mom, that woman's not going to stop. And I want to find out, is this guy Salim or Kareem dead? Because I know he was sentenced.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true. We should look it up.
Is it Egyptian Butcher? Is he dead?
Yeah.
Has been sentenced.
So he's not dead yet. Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's dead, or else I think that would be everywhere. Mm-hmm. So he's just sentenced. Dude, where can this kid be with the grandmother? How can the grandmother be loyal to her son who's a murderer? Like, she should... I get the fear of possibly losing her grandson, but she should be looking to cooperate with his mother.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that we don't know about that family dynamic and situation. What if for the 3 years they were apart, like, you know, whatever the mom thinks, the grandmom thinks the mother was like doing bad things and is a bad influence, cheating, all this crazy stuff that the Salim guy was telling, or yeah. Kareem. So, dude, is his name Kareem Salim?
Yeah. Yeah.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, dude.
There's no other way to say that one either. Just screw that guy.
Yeah, that guy's getting what he deserves, but I just feel like all I could think about is Zayn.
I know. You would like to think he's at least in good hands with the grandma, not like being abused.
Right.
But at the same time, like I said, if he's 9 years old, 9-year-old kids are pretty smart these days. They understand social media. They understand like electronics. So I don't know. That's what makes me afraid that he is being held against his will. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like if he had freedom, he would find some type of way to reach out to his mom.
Yeah, if I had to bet, I would say that he's being held against his way as well. Held against his will as well. Wow, I had no idea what to expect when we first started reacting to this.
And I get it now, like why it came out of nowhere. It's like Stephanie's doing this to help spread the awareness and spread the word.
Exactly. Which honestly makes me feel good that we reacted to it. I know we are literally not even a drop in a bucket, but we're still helping this case by reacting to this.
True.
Like,
if one person that had never heard or seen
what if it's someone here, like you never know. I mean, that is close to impossible because, well, probably close to impossible that someone is reacting to our reaction to Rotten Mango without watching Rotten Mango. But you never know. Either way, I'm glad we are contributing to spreading this message. I almost want to post about it on Instagram as well. Just to, again, get it more out there.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of crazy. Wow. Well, I'm sure she'll do a follow-up.
Yeah, I have to.
She always does follow-up. Yeah. So.
Whew. That was a good one. I like that.
That was. All right, you guys.
Until next time.
Yep, until next time. And starting next week as well. I know we've been talking about our plans and stuff. Not next week, starting in February.
February, yeah.
We will be dropping more videos a week. So at least starting off with 2, and then depending on schedule and uptick and how busy we are, we want to get it up even more. So, all right, y'all, that is it. Appreciate you guys so much. Have a good rest of the day. Stay safe, and comment. Let us know what you think about this story. Do you have any information that we don't have? Was it like...
Did you know about this?
Did you know about this? Yeah. I want to hear. The dialogue is always great with you guys. So, all right, GVG, stay up.
Peace.
Peace.